Hi you guys, welcome back to another YOGALATES with SJ class. I'm SJ and today we have a full body strength training home workout. You don't need any equipment for this workout, but if you would like to add some weights, some dumbbells, or maybe even some ankle weights to your workout today, you're welcome to grab hold of those and use those throughout. Today's workout, we're going to be working every single muscle throughout the body. We have a focus of strength at the same time, leaning the body out and increasing the metabolism. We are going to be toning and sculpting, and we are going to be doing all of this in just under 40 minutes. So if you do want to grab hold of any weights, you might like to get those now, maybe pausing the video and taking your time to arrive on your mat. And then when you're ready, we are going to be coming to standing. So you're standing here. If you do have a dumbbell, you can bring the dumbbell into your right hand. I've got very light dumbbells here, so I'm going to be bringing both dumbbells into my right hand. And then we are just finding length into the spine, reaching the arms up and circling all the way back. So we're moving through the shoulders here, and we're making sure that we've got a soft engagement through the core. You're lifting up out of the pelvic floor and making sure you're not locking the elbows out. So you've got softness into the elbows. All the movement is coming from the shoulders. It's a full shoulder rotation. Breathing in as you bring the arms up and exhale out as you circle and bring the arms back down. Then we're staying here, starting to hinge at the hips and lengthen the arms behind you, and then reaching the fingertips to the ceiling and then hinging forward again. So we're finding a flat back with this. We have got the core engaged. We've got the elbows locked in close to the side body. You are keeping the head in the same line as the rest of the back. It's just a hinge at the hips, pressing that tailbone to the back of the room and then coming back up. Now just staying down, guys. We're finding some triceps here. So bringing the elbows in close, you are just bending and straightening through those elbows, keeping that flat back position, keeping your core engaged, finding length here, working into the back of the arms, breathing, doing awesome. Let's get it. So good, you guys. Keep it going. And now we're bringing the arms all the way forward and then lengthening back. So it's a circle sweep of the arms forward and then lengthening the fingertips to the back of the room. Keeping this going. So we're still in this hinge forward position. You've still got that core engagement. Shoulders are away from the ears, not bringing any tension into the neck. So keeping length through the back of that neck. Softness into the knees here, so you're not locking out those knees. And circle it around, finding even more length each time and release, coming down into your forward fold. Starting to switch hands with your weight, and then you're rolling the spine, coming all the way up to standing. Head arrives last and releasing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Bringing the arms up, and we are circling the arms again. So again, working through the rotation of the shoulder and just starting to soften into the elbows, so not locking out those elbows. You are keeping that core engaged, a nice neutral pelvis here. Ribs closed, breathing in as you bring the arms up and exhale as you start to soften down. Awesome. And now staying here, we're bringing the arms all the way up and finding that hinge forward at the hips, lengthening the arms back and then coming back up, fingertips to the sky and then hinging forward, core engaged, flat back and lengthening the fingertips back up. Keeping it going, guys. Seeing if you can keep everything the same on both sides, even though we have got weight only in one side. Seeing if you can imagine that you've got weight on the other side as well. So really bringing your mind to the muscles that we're working. And then next time you come down, just staying here, finding that tricep. So we're starting to just press back and then bend at the elbows, coming forward with the hands. Keeping those elbows in nice and close to the side waist. And keeping length through the back of the neck, core engaged, pressing the pelvis to the back of the room, softness into the knees, squeezing into the back of those arms. Awesome. And staying here, circle sweep the arms forward and lengthening fingertips behind you and then coming forward again. Keeping this going, finding that long line. We are getting longer, stronger, all of the good things. Breathing. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down into a forward fold, releasing the pelvis to the ceiling and bringing the weights to both hands. So grabbing hold of both of your weights, one in each hand. We're sitting down into a chair as you lengthen the arms forward and then opening the heart center as you drop the elbows down and find a long line here. So I want you to really sit back into the heels. You're lifting the toes up slightly to make sure that your weight is coming into those heels. You are keeping length into the spine. You've got a core engagement here. Softness into the elbows, softness into the knee joints. We are moving. We are getting stronger. Really imagining that you're sitting back into a chair. So your weight is moving backwards and at the same time keeping strong through that core. Sitting down and pressing back up, opening the heart and keep it going. Bringing your mind to those muscles that we're working, whether or not you've got weights or not. That is how we get results, really using your mind, connecting to those muscles. Stepping out the feet, and we are coming to bring our weight over into the left foot. Starting to lift the right knee up as you press the arms up to a shoulder press, and then the right toes tap down to the side as you bring the arms out into a T shape. So we're keeping this going, making sure your weight is even through that supporting foot and you are keeping nice and still and stationary in that side. At the same time though, seeing if you can really keep your core engaged, using the core to lift the knee up and maintaining that connection of core as you lower the leg back down, opening out the hip to the side. And let's come down. Let's come to a stationary lunge. So you're bringing the left foot forward, the right foot back. You're tucking the right toes under and you're starting to bend into the front knee. And at the same time, we're making a little hammer curl of the arms. So the elbows are in locked to the side waist and you are pressing down and lengthening back up. So using your glute muscles, using all of the muscles of the legs to press you back up to standing, drawing up from that pelvic floor and making sure your weight is even through both sides of the body. Coming up and we are coming to bring the feet out wide again. You're bringing your weight into the right foot and you're starting to find that shoulder press and the T shape coming out, opening out and tapping the left toes out to the side, making sure that you're not rocking around in the pelvis here. So we're opening out, keeping that supporting leg nice and still and stationary. Weight is even through that foot and we are lifting up, using the core muscles to lift the knee and maintaining that connection as you open the leg out, tapping the left toes to the side. And breathing. Inhale and exhale, opening out. Cool. Let's come to the lunge on the other side. So the right foot comes forward this time. Left toes are tucked and back and you are dropping down into your lunge. Lowering down and hammer curl. Awesome. Keeping this going, just working at whatever range feels good for you. I just want you to make sure that that front knee is not going forward of the toes. Engaging that core, keeping length into the spine, powering it up, using all of the muscles of the legs to power you up, squeezing into those biceps, and we're coming up. We're bringing the feet about hip width apart and you are bringing the left hand onto your hips, and we're bringing the right arm up and over and then opening the arm out to the side. So with this, we want to keep everything really still here. So you're not so much hinging out or pressing the right hip out. You're imagining that you're coming up and over a ball. So it's really a lengthening up and then over as you come over to that left side. And we are keeping softness into the shoulders, relaxing the shoulders down. You've got the core engaged, and let's come to the other side. So bringing the left arm out and up and over and opening it out again. Keeping this going, breathing, keeping the hips square to the front of the mat here, relaxing the jaw, all the muscles of the face. Neutral pelvis, breathing, bringing your mind to those muscles that we're working into the arms as well, finding length into the side waist. Awesome. And coming all the way down. We're going to come down to a tabletop position. So coming down onto your mat, making sure the shoulders are in line with the hands and the knees are in line with the hips. Finding a nice flat back here and taking a moment here to find cat-cow. So you're tucking the tailbone, rounding the spine, chin to chest, and any kind of movement that feels good here. Looking up, gaze up, tailbone up. Just finding some deep breaths, well-earned stretch. Feels nice to come down onto the mat. You might like to continue with this, or maybe you might like to come to a child's pose by bringing the big toes together, the knees out wide, allowing the arms to lengthen out, forehead coming down onto the mat. Relaxing the pelvis and starting to find some deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. Then taking your time to come up, we're coming to tabletop, finding a flat back here, and you are bringing the left toes, tucking those toes back, and then you are tucking the right toes as well. And we're going to start to press the shoulders towards the mat as you start to lift the knee up. So that right knee lifts, a little hover, and lowering back down. So you're using your core muscles to lift the knee, hover up, and then lower back down. Keeping length through the whole back, pressing that left heel to the back of your mat, and your gaze is slightly forward of the hands. You've got length through the back of the neck, not locking out through those elbow joints. Keeping your pelvis neutral. Using those strong core muscles. Awesome. Staying here, we're starting to just lower that knee, and you are lifting and lowering through the left glute here. So it's just a little lift up and down of the foot and the leg of that left side, keeping length here. We're not pointing the toe or flexing. We are keeping a neutral foot and releasing, bringing the knee back down. Coming onto your forearms, making sure the shoulders are in line with the elbows, and you are starting to lift and hover through that right knee again. So the right knee lifts up and lowers back down. You've got the left toes tucked under. You're keeping your core nice and engaged here, closing the ribs. Pressing the shoulders towards the earth, keeping length here, breathing, lifting up, lowering down. It's just a tiny little lift, super powerful, doesn't have to be high, and staying here. We're starting to lift that left leg up and making a little pulse up and down of that left leg. So rather than thinking about moving the foot around, seeing if you can bring your mind to the left glute, so that smile line under the left side of the glute. You're working through that side at the same time, keeping your core super engaged here. And then coming down, we're starting to open out to that left side. So you're coming up onto your left hand and you are starting to circle the left leg all the way around. So you're opening out that left hip to the left side. Your gaze is over to the left. You have got your weight even through the whole center line of the body, but you are opening up through the hips here. Starting to circle forward, and then we're circling back. All of the movement here is coming from the hip on that left side. So rather than moving through the rest of the leg, seeing if you can focus on that area here of the hip, keeping everything open to that left side, circling around and releasing the knee back down. Awesome job. And we are going to just drop into a little cat-cow again here. Any movement into the spine that feels good. Might be your regular cat-cow, or it might be some other kind of movement here. Just taking a break, finding some deep breaths. And then just taking your time to find your tabletop position. We're starting to bring the right toes back, tucking the toes, and you've got the left toes tucked under as well. You're hovering that left knee up and lowering it back down. Using your core muscles to lift the knee and lower it down. Pressing the shoulders towards the mat so you're keeping nice and strong through the back body. Your gaze is slightly forward of the hands. Using the core to lift that knee up, just a tiny little lift, lowering back down. Pressing the right heel to the back of the mat. So good, you guys. Lifting and lowering and then staying here. Starting to bring the right leg up, and we are just working into that right glute, lifting and lowering, tiny little pulse. Awesome job. Now coming down, we're coming onto the forearms, and you're bringing the right toes to tuck, and you are starting to hover the left knee up. So it's a tiny little lift. We're on the forearms. You're pressing the shoulders towards the mat. Neutral pelvis here. Staying strong. Pressing that right heel back. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering down with control. Making sure that you've got length through the back of the neck here. Working into all of those core muscles. Beautiful work. Awesome. Staying here, guys. We're starting to bring that right leg up, and you're starting to make little pulses up and down using that right glute. So keeping your foot in a neutral, the knee is pointing straight down, your gaze is slightly forward of the hands, keeping length through the back of the neck, tiny little pulses up and down, getting into that smile line under the glute. And awesome. Let's bring it to open out to the side. So you're starting to come up onto the right hand, and your gaze is over towards the right, and you're opening the hip out towards the right side. Circling the leg forward, and we're going to circle it back. So you're keeping everything nice and still and stationary here. You've got a core engagement, softness into the knee, and breathing deeply. And then we are starting to release it. We're going to come all the way to seated. Starting to roll the spine, coming all the way down onto your back, soles of the feet onto the mat. And then we're starting to circle the arms and then rolling back up to lengthen up through the spine, using your core to lift you up. It's a full roll down and a full roll up. We are keeping the core engaged, belly button to spine, lengthening the arms up overhead and circle sweep the arms around, and then coming back up. Sitting up tall out of the pelvis, and bringing the arms up, around, and rolling down vertebra by vertebra, connecting each part of the spine down onto the mat and coming all the way up. If this feels too much, guys, with a full roll down, you can always hold on to the back of the knees and just roll back halfway, and then use your hands to roll you back up, and also using your core. Most important thing is that we want to make sure that we are sitting up nice and tall. We are keeping the navel to spine, and we are using our core muscles, not the neck or the hip flexors, to roll up and roll back. So keep this going, lifting up and circling the arms around and reaching the arms forward as you roll back down with control, vertebra by vertebra, and keep it going. Staying strong, using that core to bring you up and keeping that core engagement as you roll back, tucking the tailbone and coming all the way down. Next time you come up, we are staying here, bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide, coming to a butterfly position with the legs. Taking a nice deep breath in as you lengthen up into the spine, and then exhale as you hinge forward at the hips and allow the chin to come to chest. Finding a nice release here. And then sitting up nice and tall, keeping your feet in that position, and we are starting to bring the arms forward, shoulders away from the ears, tucking the tailbone under and rolling down to come to your back. Bring your hands behind your head, and we are going to start to use your core muscles to lift you up. So it's a little crunch up, and you are coming all the way up, or you can stay with that tiny crunch here. And then we're starting to hinge back, and you are twisting towards the right side, coming back through center, and then twisting to the left side. So all of the movement here is coming from the belly button, and then rolling back down vertebra by vertebra and coming back to your back. Inhale, coming up. Lengthening up, sitting up nice and tall. Exhale as you start to come back to that halfway point, twisting to the right and coming back through center and twisting left. Coming back through center, elbows out wide, shoulders relaxed, and tucking the tailbone as you roll back down vertebra by vertebra. And again, coming up, lengthening up, sitting up tall. Keeping it going, keeping that core engaged. We are controlling that roll down, and then we are coming all the way down to lengthen the arms up overhead, and you are starting to roll up, reach the arms forward, and then coming back to that halfway point, keeping the core engaged and twisting right, coming back through center and twisting left. Bringing that left arm out, coming back through center and navel to spine, rolling back down, reaching the arms, and inhale, coming up, lengthening up, sitting up tall, and then starting to come back, flat back as you tuck the tailbone, navel to spine, reaching the right arm to the right and then the left to the left. All of the movement here is coming from the waist, so you're keeping the core engaged, the pelvis is relaxing, the hips are relaxing, reaching the arms up overhead, and then sitting up tall, reach, and coming back to that halfway point. Keep it going, guys. Breathing deeply, shoulders are relaxed. Your gaze is following with the arm that's moving. And it's just moving through that waist, controlling the movement as you come down, keeping that core engagement, reaching as you come up, staying here, and we are starting to come down onto the forearms. The fingertips are pointing forward, and you are just allowing the shoulders to press down into the mat as you lift up here out of those shoulders. Starting to rock the knees from side to side, creating some nice movement here into the hips, little twist through the side waist, and then coming back through center. Starting to bring the right knee in towards the chest, opening the hip out, and then coming back through center, lengthening the leg long, and then drawing the knee back in, opening out, and coming back through the center line as you lengthen the leg out. Keeping this going. As you do, we are using the core muscles to draw the knee in, maintaining that connection of the core as you open the hip out, and continuing to maintain that connection as you lengthen the leg out. And lifting up out of those shoulders so you're not collapsing down into those shoulders, keeping length through the back of the neck, and keeping nice and still through that left side. Beautiful. Placing the foot down, and let's come to the other side. So finding that core engagement, you're bringing the left knee in and lengthening the leg long, and then bringing the knee back in, opening the hip out and back through center, and lengthen the leg out. Keep it going, keeping that connection of the core, really bringing your mind to all of the muscles that we're working here. Using your core muscles to draw the knee in and lengthen the leg out. Finding that nice open hip as you open the knee out to the side. And releasing the foot. We're coming all the way over to your right side. We're just starting to allow the right hand to come to the side of the head for some support here, stacking the hips and stacking the shoulders, and allowing a nice long line through the waist here. And we're just bringing the feet slightly forward to the front edge of the mat, so you're on a little angle with those legs, and lifting up out of the right side waist, keeping the core engaged, lifting and lowering that top leg up and down. Slight turn out of the toes and a little openness through the hip here, staying nice and strong and still through the upper body. We want to make sure we're not rocking back or forward, so we are staying with the hips stacked here. You're really working into the outer thigh, the outside of the glute, lifting up, bringing your mind to those muscles that we're working, and lowering down. Beautiful work. Bringing the leg forward, and you're starting to bring the shin to be parallel to the front of the mat. You want the hips and the knee to be in the same line here, stacking those hips and finding a lift up out of the side waist here. Making sure you're not collapsing into the shoulder, and you're starting to lift up and down. We're squeezing the inner thigh as you lift up and lower it back down. It's just a very small lift of that bottom leg. We're working into those inner thighs, and keep it going. Beautiful work. And just starting to release it. Starting to open out that top leg. So you're bringing the leg up and over, and we're making sure those hips are still stacked here, and we're starting to bring the knee to nearly touch down in front, and then open that hip back out again as you touch the toes down behind. So it's just an opening out and then coming up and over. Knee comes down towards the mat, and then you are lifting and bringing those toes to touch down. So just keeping this going. As you do this, making sure that you are keeping the hips stacked. You are also not rocking around anywhere. So you're keeping everything else nice and still, really working into both hips. You're opening out both hips with this and keeping the core engaged. And then releasing and taking a moment here Little rock from side to side, and then coming up, we're going to come over to the other side and do the same on the left side. So coming all the way down, stacking those hips and placing the head in the hands, and you are starting to let the legs come into that angle. So just bringing the feet to the front edge of the mat, making sure that the hips are in the same line as your shoulders, and lifting up out of that side waist through the left side. And then we're starting to take a moment here to turn the toes slightly out and lifting the leg up and lowering it back down with control. Keeping this going and working into that side of the glute as well as the hip and the outer thigh here. Keeping your core engaged, breathing, guys. Awesome. And then releasing. Starting to bring the top leg to come forward, and you have got the shin in line with the front of the mat, and you are starting to lift and lower that bottom leg. So really working into the inner thigh here. You've got the hips stacked still, and you are lifting up out of the side waist through that left side, and just a little lift up and down of that inner thigh. Awesome job. Keep it going. Making sure you're breathing, guys. Amazing work. And then you are releasing down. We're going to start to open out that top leg now. So bringing the top leg up and over, you're tapping the toes behind and opening both hips out. And we are making sure the hips are nice and stacked still, and then you are rainbowing that leg all the way up. Knee touches nearly down onto the mat in front of you, and then you are coming back out, opening the hip out. Keeping this going, making sure you're not rocking around in the upper body. So you are keeping really, really still here through the core, and opening up the hips, finding that beautiful openness through the front side of the pelvis, and breathing deeply. Keep it going. Awesome, you guys. When you're ready, we're going to start to make our way down onto the mat, finding a stretch. So if you have ankle weights on, you might like to take those off. Going to come all the way down and find happy baby. Just grabbing hold of somewhere on the legs, maybe behind the knees or the outside of the feet, allowing the knees to be out wide, tummy relaxing down, pelvis heavy, releasing the back of the shoulders to the mat, and just finding some deeper breaths here, in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. You might find a gentle rock from side to side, or maybe starting to bend and straighten into the legs. Anything that feels good, just having a little play here, maybe wiggling through the toes. You might hug the knees in towards the chest, holding on to the front side of the knees, lengthening the tailbone down. Maybe rocking the head gently from side to side, and maybe you might take your hands to the front side of the knees, starting to circle in one direction, opening the knees out, and then closing the knees back together, drawing those knees back in and opening the knees out, and then straightening the arms as you start to bring those knees back inward. Just keeping this going as you let the back of the heels relax to the pelvis. Finding those beautiful deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth. And then starting to maybe circle back the other way. Finding a reverse, continuing to breathe deeply, relaxing down. You might hug the left knee in towards the left shoulder, starting to lengthen the right leg long and finding a nice deep stretch here as you breathe into the belly. And then exhale, exhale, exhale out, feeling the hips relax, pelvis, the legs, the feet, the jaw, letting everything relax down. And then maybe starting to find a nice supine stretch by guiding that knee across the body, bringing the left arm out into a T shape and starting to allow the left leg to soften over to the right, maybe gazing over towards that left arm and relaxing the back of the shoulders toward the mat, letting the legs relax, pelvis, everything softening here, finding those deeper breaths into the side body, maybe a little rock of the head from side to side. And then just taking your time to come back through center and maybe taking a little rock from side to side with the knees, finding a twist through the waist and a nice release into the hips here. Maybe bringing the arms out a little bit wider, palms facing up. And you might let the head rock from side to side, finding a little massage into the back of the head. Breathing deeply in and fully out. And then when you're ready, just starting to bring the right knee in towards the right shoulder and lengthening the left leg long, finding that really nice deep stretch into the hip here, relaxing the feet, relaxing the pelvis, the tummy muscles, taking a deep breath in and a full breath out. And then starting to guide the knee across the body, finding that nice supine twist here. Bringing the right arm out, palm facing up, and starting to relax here into the pelvis, the back of the shoulders. Maybe the gaze comes out over to the right, letting the right leg relax, everything softening down, breathing deeply in and fully out. Staying here for as long as you like, guys, before going about the rest of your day. You might like to come to your back and just spend a little bit of time with the arms out wide and the legs extended. Doing anything that feels good, maybe hugging the knees again, or just allowing a little bit of time before transitioning into your day. It was awesome to have you join me for this workout today. If you enjoyed the workout, I would love you to subscribe to the channel and make sure you have the notifications turned on for new free yoga, Pilates and strength training home workouts for you every week. There's new releases coming out. Have the best day, guys. Can't wait to see you again soon. Namaste.